God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Genesis 1, verse 25.
Who would you choose? Dogs? Cats? Are you like mutual love like for both? Or like we talking a different animal like reptile, bird like a duck?
Or like a snake?
Reptile.
No, cats, definitely cats.
So
I'm not a reptile person at all. I don't really like any reptiles.
I love reptiles.
I don't know.
But I don't have them. But to answer your question, dogs. However, I used to be a cat person. I grew up a cat person. Around 15, I developed an allergy to cats, and I can no longer have cats, and I became a dog person, especially after I had a roommate who had a dog, and just that sort of companionship of it getting excited every time I came home.
Ugh.
It was awesome.
Sounds annoying.
Yeah. Well, and that's probably like cats. So like dogs all the way, cats not so much. And it's not just because I'm allergic to them. I'm allergic to dogs too. But I will take a risk of my breathing abilities for the dog, right? Because dogs have that unconditional love where they wait for you when you come home, and cats are kind of like, they love you on their own terms.
Aloof.
Yeah, so like you go to a house and most people are like, I have a cat, but they're just somewhere. But when I'm there, you know, like you try to get attention of a cat, but I don't want the attention of a cat, but a cat comes around the corner and is just like, why don't you want to pet me? Why don't you want to give me scritches? And then they like get closer because they want to be like, why aren't you paying attention to me? Why don't you love me? So.
But I feel the same way. Like the dogs do the same thing. Like they sniff you, they're in your crotch, they're smelling you, they're jumping on you, and I'm like, I don't, just get away from, just stop. Like, get the hint. Like I don't want to touch you.
And more when my Weimaraner loves him so much.
Yeah, and I just don't want that. But it's a bigger animal.
You're
too,
really
so
good with her too. Like you handle her, and she listens to you. You have the authority.
Yeah, but I think the other thing comes with the cats though is, I think people in general think that cats can't be trained like dogs, and they can.
Yeah.
And I think that I think because of that though, you go to so many people's houses, and they're like, "Yo, yeah, my cat, he's kind of like doesn't really." But it's more just like, to me, that's like the owner's fault.
Absolutely.
But then. You know, like I could see a dog rescuing me, but not a cat if I'm in trouble, or at least getting help. I mean, you got Lassie, you got. Meanwhile, like cats are like, you know, epitomized with like, you know, idolatry. You know, like with, you know, worshipped by the Egyptians. You know, it's flying on the backside of like,
because they saw how cool cats are. They're like, wow. They didn't do it about dogs. They're like, these things are so dumb.
All right, but the thing is, like,
it would have been wolves, right?
But you have like, you know, witches with a black cat. Black cat's bad luck. You don't see a grand mastiff on the back of a broom. You know, like, yeah. See, I put that visual image.
But see, the cat is intellectual enough to be able to be associated. The dog's like, oh, well, which kind? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
go over here and lick myself.
I mean, so you know, cat backwards is tack. You know, what's dog backwards?
Oh.
Just kidding. But
right,
at the same
so
time,
if anything, is blasphemy.
No, but he's a representative of God's unconditional love, because it doesn't matter, because he's still gonna love the master.
I don't know. My cats love me unconditionally too, so I don't know.
I do like your cats.
But they did make a movie called All Dogs Go to Heaven. I didn't really see the sequel of All Cats Go to Heaven. I mean, it didn't.
That's true.
So, but yeah. So, anyways, with
with that, obviously today we are talking about animals. Do they have souls? Do they go to heaven? Do they not have souls? Are there animals in heaven? We're just going to have a fun discussion. And before we even get into it, a lot of people seem to be sensitive about this topic, perhaps overly so, and we love our animals. And as much as we're having some fun on cats and dogs just now, like we do love animals. We're going to Quentin Tarantino this. The answer is we don't know, and it doesn't matter. This is just supposed to be a fun, lighthearted discussion, and we all did our own independent research, and we're going to see what opinions we have. We've hid this.
Yeah, because one day we will find out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the reason why they are or not.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So
this is just a fun, lighthearted discussion. Don't get upset with whatever conclusions any of us have, but feel free to engage in the conversation, whether you agree or disagree with any conclusions, or if there is any other points, we might have missed.
Yeah, definitely comment and make a...
Yes, please do. Anyone want to kick us off? I know Lance came with pages of notes, by the way.
I do have pages of notes.
So I don't know if you've got a good place
and I don't
to
know,
start here.
I don't know why I have so many notes, but
I don't either.
I do.
Okay. Love it.
It's hard to start this off because I don't even know where to start, but I got a few things to talk about. So I guess I'll go into my whole theory. I'm going to try to do this kind of quickly. So
Theory, you're talking about souls now.
Well, theory about...
Just the theory about them being in heaven or not,
Okay,
or what kind of how they're tied into everything.
Okay.
I guess. So as I was doing some digging into like, the typical verses, there's a lot of stuff in like Revelations, there's a lot of stuff in Genesis and then Romans, and there's a bunch of different areas where you can pull scripture about animals. And one thing that I saw that was kind of interesting was when you look at Genesis, right, on the 5th day, the creatures in the sea were created, right? And the birds of the sky.
I think he's going to steal like half of my thing here.
Okay. So on the 5th day, right, the ocean and all the creatures in the water were created, and the birds of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
On the next day, the land animals were created with man on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't in and of itself just make it like, oh, okay, well, that,
It's not a ranking. Not
right, it's not a ranking. It's nothing like that. But then when the flood came and God destroyed everything with Noah, right, then God spoke to Noah and his sons, saying to him, "And as for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, and every beast of the earth with you, of all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth. Thus I establish my covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood. Never again shall there be a flood to destroy my earth." And God said this, "And the sign of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations, I set my rainbow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth." Right? So there was like that covenant between not only us and God, but included the creatures. And I think it's also interesting that we were also created on the same day. Now, obviously the covenant was also had to do with the flood, right? But when you look...
So when you're saying like the creatures that came out of the ark, so then that means none of the water life, would that not... So are they part of the covenant too?
No.
So
they're not part of that covenant because it was also...
forget you, shark. You're not going to...
So, but I will back this up. So, and I'm not saying this is 100%, right? Again. So, but I just thought it was interesting. Now, when you go into Revelations, right? And we look at, trying to find my notes.
It's interesting you're going to Revelation because I'm waiting for you to
okay, now Revelations 21. Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Also, there was no more sea. So on the new earth, there's no sea. But the covenant wasn't with the sea animals, right? The covenant was with the land animals.
Yeah.
Well, so it almost seems like it's slightly different for them. Now, if you go into Isaiah, right? And Isaiah talked about creatures not harming each other on the new earth when he starts talking about the return of Christ, right? So in Isaiah
11,
is that what it is?
6 through 9.
Yep, 6 through 9.
He's taking our notes.
Well, I mean, there's only so many.
Right.
Fair enough.
"The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. The leopard shall lie down with the young goat. The calf and the young lion and the fatling together. And a little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. Their nursing child shall play in the cobra's hole, and the weaned child shall put his hand in the viper's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea."
Did you notice with the comparison or the analogy they're using there, in both instances with human child, it's with a serpent or with some type of serpent. It's not like they're playing with the goat or the coyote. You know, they're playing with the snake and they're putting their hand in the viper's den.
And viper in particular has been called out for like bad things, like calling actually, was it John the Baptist called the Pharisees a brood of vipers, and they were very offended by it because of like they eat their parents or something along that.
Well, and that's why, like, because you know how, like, you know, a lot of the Bible is, you know, symbolism and just using like different imagery and things like that to prove points and things. So that's why, like, a lot of times with this verse right here, I've seen scholars go, you know, both ways in the literal sense of, you know, animals laying down and animals whatever, but also does each of those animals represent a type of people or a type
Absolutely, especially with the specific symbolism,
Yeah.
you know, that's found in other places. And another point is there's nothing indicating that they are the same animals that were on the earth that went to heaven. This could just be heaven's animals.
It's also the pre-fall animals, right? Because you're returning back to a new earth, new heaven. So before the fall of man and before, Eve ate the apple and everything, the animals became that certain way. But probably before that, they were just
chilling,
hanging out and chilling. There was no sense of violence. There's no evil in the world. There's no I attack
which is
you.
what, like, when I read Isaiah, because I went back through it, I felt like, because when I first read it, I thought the same thing about, like, it was more just like, oh, just symbolism. It's not necessarily, but when I kept going through it, I felt like it was actual more literal. When I was reading it,
it could be literal and also working on a symbolic level. There's no reason why it can't be both.
Of course, right? Of course.
And you brought up Genesis, and you didn't bring up the thing that I really want to mention. I think it's the perfect jumping off point. So Genesis 1:21 is, so God created the great creatures of the sea and every living thing with which the water teems and that moves about in it according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind, and God saw it was good. So if I'm not mistaken, it's living creatures, right? Oh, wait. Oh, great creatures. Okay, so it's great creatures and living creatures, which might also be the verse before. So a little background on this. I was brought up and I always believed that, you know, animals don't have souls. I don't know that if we know for sure, but one thing I find interesting is in the original Hebrew, there is the word for I think it's the word that translated to living creatures is nephesh. Okay, if I'm pronouncing that right, it's in English Nephesh. Okay, this word is often translated as soul. So,
interesting.
and it's, to your point, doesn't use that in the sea creature part.
Interesting.
Right? So,
because that was kind of part of what I feel like it is. It's almost like, to me, there's, and this is just
this is
just spitballing ideas kind of a thing. I feel like land animals go to heaven, personally, from all the digging that I've done.
Well, what is?
I don't say it's definitive, but I would lean towards that if I had to lean away. Sea
creatures are so weird, and they're freaky, and you can cut a starfish in half, and it grows into two starfish, and it goes and has two separate independent lives. What's with that?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
What's with all the sea creatures? And what's the deal with coral?
Well, but lizards, you cut the tail and it grows a new one.
It grows a new tail, but the tail doesn't spawn a lizard, and the lizard goes off and lives its own life.
Well, one thing, kind of going back to the soul thing, you know, not having, like, I think it's rather a spirit than like a soul, because, like, obviously they can't have the same soul that we have. Like, they might have a variation of some kind of thing, but at the same time, if you're saying they all have souls, then it's kind of hard to kind of wrap around with Old Testament time with all the animal sacrifice and everything else. So, like, almost like the killing of things with souls, like, that just seems a bit harsh.
But would it also almost make some more sense, because you're, in some sense, tying those sins to that creature and sending it to hell, just like Jesus tied all of our sins and went to Abraham's bosom, went to hell and freed, you know, everybody who was in there. It's almost like the same thing, but instead we don't have to do those sacrifices anymore. So is it because of that?
But I don't think they have the same type. Like, if they have a soul, I don't think it's the same.
Well, I mean, ultimately, though, too, it's a little different for animals, anyways, because they are not to God as we are to God. We are made in the image of God.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. It's
And
it's a different. Yeah.
but we are. God gave us the authority to over the animals, to shepherd over the animals, right? So it's a little, it's sort of a hierarchy.
Yeah.
Right. You see what I'm getting at with
Yeah,
your sacrifice?
it's like right, but I'm just saying like
Mhm.
if they had the same type of like held to the same regard, like meaning by having free will, by having consequence to sin and everything else, like so you're holding animals to the same standard if they're
I don't. So I think that they wouldn't be held to the same standard as us. I would guess. But, I mean, it's hard to. I mean, it's so. I mean,
Well, of
that's
course.
almost impossible to even like. I guess get into the semantics of it, right?
Right.
With like
well, that's what I mean.
how
It's
they
just
live their
like-
life and what that means, and just
but just
or
to
they
hold it
just
to the same,
or they just born with like an innate like
they can just do whatever and it's
understanding
cool,
of
like a pack of wolves can like maul a small child, but they'll still join them in heaven later.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, because is an animal going to sin? You know,
That's what I mean.
That's
Like-
not how it works. You know, that's why I'm saying like there is a certain hierarchy. You know, like our covenant with God is different than the animals, and we have the authority over
Right,
animals.
but that we're on a whole different level, even to the angels and things, right? 'Cause-
Right.
Yeah, and that's a
they're
whole
creatures
different
in
deal.
heaven, so it's different.
There are
Right.
creatures in heaven. I mean,
Right.
that's what it says.
But is it are they new creatures, or are they just like am I gonna have like the 12
See,
gerbils
and
that I
that's-
killed? You know, like, that
Yeah,
just show up and be like, why didn't you feed us? You know, I mean, that's where you kind of like, or is it gonna be something where like you don't even recognize? Just like sometimes they have to say something like you won't even recognize each other because you're being so awe and worship of God that you don't. There's no like visual, like you're not gonna see like all 12 dogs you've had or all, whatever,
Right.
or is the child that like just back to like I know it's whatever kind of dark a little bit, but like a child mauled by a wild animal, is that child gonna be in heaven and then like see that wild animal and recognize and be like, that's the one that like,
Yeah, I mean,
But
that's
you wouldn't really care anymore.
Yeah,
no, but I mean,
yeah,
like, does it become like a line where it's just like, so does that animal go to? Is there like a hell
Is it going
for
to go
animal?
to the new Earth or
Right, so like it's just
I guess. I mean, if you're really posing that question, like, I don't think animals would be held to our same standard.
Of course.
I think that's ultimately what it comes down to.
So as we're going through some animal stuff. In Revelations 5 though,
Okay.
verse 13 says, "And every creature which is in heaven and on earth and under the earth and such as are in the sea and all that are in them, I heard saying, blessing and honor and glory and power be to him who sits on the throne and to the Lamb forever and ever." So there are references to like all the animals
Mm-hmm.
like glorifying God,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's that's interesting if it was just like they're clearly like worshiping, glorifying.
So to that point, if I may, this obviously isn't biblical, but C.S. Lewis, I think it's a book called Problem of Pain, and within this book, I think he discusses this topic a lot. And there's a quote from here, because you know how we're made in the image of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And animals don't have a relationship with Jesus, right? As far as
we understand.
As far as we understand, we
Yeah.
don't know what they understand about God, angels, what they can see, as far as like supernatural things like that. C.S. Lewis wonders if man can be to other creatures what Christ is to man. Meaning not that we can sacrifice ourselves for their sins, but like because we're made in the image of God, that is sort of like the closest access to seeing and understanding.
I mean, I guess it's possible.
God.
I mean, we are given authority over the animals, right?
Exactly.
And I think I would say if that's the case, then just naturally built into their how they work would be that that's the hierarchy kind of a
Mhm.
thing.
It's kind of interesting to think about, and it kind of makes you like, for those people who are cruel to animals, like how wrong is that? Like they see this being who is made in the image of God and like who's who's not trying to be a godly person, you know,
Right.
like, because we're supposed to take care of the animals, right? Like in Luke 14, verse 5. Do I have it here? Yes, I do. Then he asked them, if one of you has a child or an ox that falls into a well on the Sabbath day, will you not immediately pull it out? You know, I mean, he was talking about like things in the Sabbath,
Yes.
but we're called to take care of them too, right?
Right. So along those lines, so like when there is the new heaven and earth, like does that mean like we're just gonna like stop eating meat too? Because I'm gonna miss like bacon and steaks and stuff.
Right. All right.
Well, I don't think there will be. Well, actually, I mean, this is going on to a different episode about being in heaven, because it is kind of because the new earth, right? So the people who are in heaven are going to be on the new earth.
Right. Because
But when you are in heaven, it does. There are mentions in the Bible, and I don't have it with me to pull it up, but there are mentions about talking about like
because there's
feasts and eating and stuff. So there is, but who's to say like? I mean, Jesus multiplied fish, right, and bread, right? So who's to say that that's not just, it's just going to be in...
We're only going to eat fish and fruit.
Don't tell me that. I don't like fish.
Well, the other thing is that so on there you kind of draw on the line with sea creatures, right? But like, where do you draw the line? Like, so when you say animals, it's not insects, not single cell organisms. It's not,
well, that's a great question.
Because like, I really don't want to share some time with mosquitoes, or I don't want...
Well, the mosquitoes aren't going to eat you.
Yeah.
Right. Because if the you stick your hand in the viper's den, the lamb lays down with the wolf, the mosquito will not bite you.
Or is there a special place in hell for mosquitoes? Because they can go there. I'll stand by that right now. No good comes from mosquitoes.
But bugs are interesting. I honestly,
because there are insect lovers, and there's people, and they'd be like, you get to heaven and be like, what? No tarantulas? No.
Well, and so within that same line of reasoning, we're called to shepherd the animals, right? But is it okay to kill a fly that's in your house? I don't have. I do it. I have no remorse over killing a fly in my house. Like it's a nuisance, right? Is that a problem? Do I need to stop doing that? I don't think I do. I can if somebody has some reason that I should.
I mean, luckily we don't. Believe in like reincarnation and things like that. So
yes,
you don't have to worry about, oh, did I just kill Uncle Jerry? Like,
or the fly coming back as a bear and it's like,
yeah, and the Molly
you remember me?
Yeah,
I just wanted to eat your garbage.
Yeah, I just wanted to poop on your fruit. Like.
But I mean, that's a good question. I mean, that's what really makes this so difficult, right? Because ultimately, like we said before, the Bible doesn't say, so we can only guess at so many things.
You know what I would want to do? I want to ride a T-Rex. Like, because if it's not going to do anything, it's not going to be weird. Like, I'm gonna ride a T-Rex.
No, I would run and ride a bear.
Well, yeah. I mean, we could ride a bear and a T-Rex next to each other and just can run down.
You can ride a bear
riding
a T-Rex.
Wow.
And
Think
you're
of the
riding.
possibilities. That's... See, it's the possibilities here.
I didn't know this conversation was going to be this.
I think I know the
lighthearted.
art for this episode.
Gotta see if I can make that without AI. Maybe a bad Photoshop will suffice.
So one other thing that I thought was interesting that I when I was doing some digging was in Romans, right?
Okay.
Romans 8 verse 20. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope, because the creation itself also will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. So when it was talking about like all the bad things that the world's going to be delivered to, it didn't just say the children of God are going to be delivered from, it said creation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's including the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if they're going to be delivered from the evil in this world, there has to be, it feels like to me, it almost seems like there's something deeper than just like, yeah, they're going to not have to deal with all the bad stuff that's going on in the world. That it seems like it's more than that they're going to be delivered just like we are into new earth or into heaven or whatever the case is. So you put two things in my head, and I don't know which way to go with it. So that
if they're being delivered right from something. So in the Garden of Eden, it was man that fell.
Right.
Right. Does it say that Adam wasn't eating animals, right? That didn't start till after the fall of man,
It never
right?
said.
It doesn't, or doesn't
It
say
didn't
one way
say,
or
I
another.
don't think it said one way or the
But there
other.
was peace, right? So you would think that it might be more. You see what I'm getting at? Like, so because of the fall of man,
Well, because
Well, yeah, that's kind of what he was.
yeah, because God said
referring to
like
before.
I'm going like eat from the garden, but do not eat from this tree of the tree of knowledge. So it's like they were probably eating other fruit and other things.
and is that when animals started eating each other, we eating meat,
After
and
the
so
fall.
on and so
After the
forth?
fall, I would
So there's
think
something
so.
with sin in relation to having eating things, right? And so then you have this.
Well, that's why I think that.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, that's
but
why I
you
think
see
that
what I'm
the
saying?
part we were talking earlier about with like Isaiah, where it's saying going to that pre-fall time, like those animals having that type of behavior as opposed to what we know of them
Yeah.
today.
Because also God said, like take and eat. Like he showed the blanket to Peter, right? And then they said, don't call unclean what I have called clean,
Right.
right? You can eat the pigs, you can eat the cows, and we should, right? We shouldn't be against eating meat.
Right.
This has been granted to us. God says it is clean, right? Obviously, if some sort of medical issue or something, that's something completely different. But like we do take and eat.
Yeah.
And on our, it's sort of hard to talk about too. Like we have our pets, that we take care of, and they kind of like become part of our family. Our house cat, our dog.
Well, even that sometimes becomes kind of a point of like idolatry, like as far as like
Well, I guess
have
if you
like
make
putting
it.
well, like people like or people don't have like say kids or thing, and it becomes like it is a part of your family, but like not actually like there's like the dissension between like actually being a family member.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To where it gets almost like in a dangerous level to an extent.
Like on
Well, like it's kind of a taboo topic, like where people just like
It's
people
too,
like uber
it's almost
obsessed.
it's too far.
Too much, like
Essentially, like it's like you're prioritizing that even over your own children.
yeah.
Or I guess I can see where you're going with that, because there are supposed to be again, like we're talking about like a hierarchy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and when I say part of our family, just like we
No,
love our
no,
Yeah,
dogs,
no, for
like,
sure. But I'm saying, I'm just saying, like,
absolutely,
it can get to
More
a
like
point
a
where
distant cousin.
twice removed.
I still hope even perhaps less than that, but
I know I'm
yeah,
kidding.
No, I get
No,
it.
I think we all do hope. You see, like, because you have people that go like, I know Fluffy's watching over me right now during the and you hear stuff like that, and you're just like, I mean, we all have that hope that like one, you're reunited with family members in heaven and everything else, and there's always that hope of seeing your childhood dog that you haven't seen in 20 years.
I know, like I would love to see Seamus again,
like Sadie dog, like yeah.
So on that topic of dogs passing away, I still have my first dog, Kara. We've had her for over 15 years now. She's 15 and a half. She's getting old, and I think we're getting close to a decision, and I'll just leave it at that.
Right.
And that's not an easy thing, and I know deep down I don't want to have to make that decision, so I started doing research. I guess before this episode, because I know I wanted an excuse to not have to make the decision, so I was like, what does the Bible say about euthanizing your pets and stuff? And we already talked a lot about we are shepherds, so ultimately what it comes down to, like, we do have that authority because we are the shepherds of the animals. This is an act of love. Like, it's different, and I hate to put it this way. It's different euthanizing a human because we are made in the image of God, right? But we have the authority over the animals to end their suffering. Like, if it's just sitting there, it's blind, it's deaf, it's not eating. It's
well, I would also say it's different just in the aspect of if I kill you, it's murder. If I kill an animal and I eat it, that's just, I'm allowed to do it on so many levels.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's different because you're not eating the animal, but if it's suffering, like I don't want to say just blatantly just kill everything, just kill all the but I mean it's not a sin to kill an animal. You know, you shouldn't be just killing it and wasting. Like you should be, you know, eat the animal or use it for clothing or whatever
as
the
far
case
as hunting.
is.
But I mean in the terms of pets, because like I know just deep down, I just
not
want to
gonna go
feel
to
like
your
I don't believe in it.
I just think it's different because we're making it different in our head because it's a pet.
Yeah.
Right, because
You know what I mean?
you're not, like you said, you're going hunting for a dog. You're not going next door to kill your neighbor's dog.
Right.
You know, because then that becomes something of a
that's
probably not so
that's a
good.
property thing though.
Yeah.
That right there. I mean, that's technically
Your property.
stole
Yeah.
because you killed that animal, so now you owe him an animal.
Oh.
Right.
So that's a little different because that's that person's property. But it's not against the dog. That's against the person who owned the dog.
Yeah.
Exactly, that you have authority
right,
over.
so
That's
the
interesting.
authoritative.
That's that hierarchy. But you know, I wanted to bring that up because just in case there's anyone else maybe struggling or dealing with that right now and is not too sure, because I know I wanted to hide behind the Bible, like, oh, you shouldn't euthanize your pets, and like I know, like I can't let her suffer. I can't let Kara suffer, you know, because she's got several issues, and I just think we're getting close on it. And that's actually how I found the C.S. Lewis quote, because I found some interesting Christian articles about the topic.
Right. Well, and there's humane ways of doing it now, and as opposed to like take old Yeller out back.
Yeah,
and use a shotgun.
of course I'm not saying that.
You know, like, so that's. I mean, at least there's good humane ways to let them not suffer.
It'll be like
anymore.
going to sleep for her.
Yeah, and that reminds me of the video I saw when Tim Tebow put his dog down. It was, oh my gosh, it was heart-wrenching. I couldn't even watch the whole. I just poor guy, and he's such a good guy, a good man of God. And it was just like, man, poor thing.
That's what I mean. Like we love our pets, you know, like they do become sort of, you know, that little companion, you know, and like you said, it's different because like now I have, you know, more. Kara's still with us as the recording of the episode, but I have a younger puppy named Morwen. She's a larger Weimaraner, but she follows me around. She like sits against me, you know, like there's that. It's not like a friend, but it's like your
best
animal
friend.
companion. Yeah. But it's in a different way, like you were saying, like like we still do not.
We don't place them above.
Like, exactly. Any humans.
I got one more verse.
Okay,
here.
let's do it. Probably need to wrap it up.
But so I just thought, again, I'm popping back into Revelations here. So Revelations 4, verse 6 through 11. Before the throne there was a sea of glass, like crystal, and in the midst of the throne and around the throne were 4 living creatures, full of eyes in front and back. The living creatures was like a lion. The second living creature was like a calf. The third living creature had a face like a man, and the fourth living creature was like a flying eagle. The 4 living creatures, each having 6 wings, were full of eyes around and within, and they do not rest day or night, saying, Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Whenever the living creatures give glory, honor, and thanks to him who sits on the throne, who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him who sit on the throne and worship him who lives forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, You are worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for you created all things, and by your will they exist and were created. Now, I know that some of these 4 living creatures is probably more like different types of like angels and stuff like that, but I just think the fact that there are other creatures, right, and there's varying different types of creatures.
Well, what are the 4 horsemen riding?
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, or what was Jesus riding, right, when he comes down back from heaven and says he's riding on a white horse, right? Now, whether that's literal or it's just more of a a figure is that's also kind of like
it's also hard in Revelation too.
Because so much kind of goes back and forth, and then on top of it, him explaining what he's seeing sometimes.
In the future isn't what they saw back then,
right? Like
the locusts could be helicopters,
right? Helicopters, and then the falling stars or like figs could be missiles. There's so much that goes into it. That's just. You don't know what it is. Although what was interesting though, I did see a video. I know we're kind of going off topic, but I saw a video really quick in China. All these drones getting like taken down, and when they were falling, it looked like missiles like dropping out of the sky. And there is a big thing with like, the end time wars where drones are going to be used, if that's going to be part of it, where it's just like millions of drones just plummeting out of the sky. I know we're kind of getting off topic, but living creatures.
But what's I think you brought up an interesting point with Jesus and the donkey and Jesus and the horse, right? Jesus on the donkey, for as we know, right, is literal.
Of course.
Also,
Symbolism of peace, of him coming in
so
peace.
Jesus coming back the second time on a horse. What is a horse?
Coming from war.
Horse is an animal of war.
Right.
That could
'Cause that's
also
what he's
be
coming back
both,
to do.
Exactly.
Yep.
Both literal and figurative. So why not?
So
there's another
I'm
example.
not going to lie.
of both
Personally,
literal
I'd take it literally.
and figuratively.
No, yes, but I
that's what I
personally
mean.
always took it
Or
literally just because.
Literally with the symbolism.
With the intention.
Yes.
But that's the whole thing with the donkey. It was literal, but there was symbolism behind it. So that also lends to the viper hand, whatever. There might be a literal aspect to it, but what is that symbolism that we're also not catching here? Because
Right.
viper is mentioned several
And
times.
a horse is
in
a
the-
land
the
animal.
Bible. Most
Not a
importantly-
seahorse.
Yeah. He wasn't coming in on a whale or dolphin.
We don't want any jellyfish or coral.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about all the time we have here
Yeah, because
for today.
yeah, so I think just one more thing. So I think whatever it is, whatever happens, like we all want our pets, we all want whatever. But I think, like at the end of the day, like, like there's a reason why it's not super clear in the Bible, and there's a reason that God will give us when we get up there, if that's something that's on our mind when we get up there, because who knows, it may be there's so much going on we just won't even realize.
Or when we get there, it might just all click and like, oh.
That's why.
And also, it doesn't really matter.
Or that's why it
too much
is,
at the end
or
of the
that's why it isn't. Yeah, because at the end of the day,
exactly.
it won't.
I do think though, I know I'm adding something right at the end. Sorry, but
fine.
there are other things, and this is not necessarily biblical, but we like talking about the Book of Enoch and stuff like that, where he was saying that he saw like all these weird creatures that were like having sex with man, and it's like it's weird like half goat thing, and all these like weird abominations of God before God wiped everything out. It was there might be some validity to that, because if that was the case, then those things were like evil, and obviously they're demons, and there's so much that goes, there's so much more into that.
Yeah, that's a whole another conversation
and
layer of
and the pigs getting possessed and then killing themselves. Judas was possessed by the devil and then killed himself. There's I don't know, just some things that just popped in my head.
Yeah, maybe there's another podcast topic idea right there.
Yep.
That's how it comes.
Riding T-Rexes. Oh wait, no,
Riding T-Rexes.
But what do you guys think about the whole situation with animals in heaven? Do they have souls? Do they not have souls? Comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Did you learn anything new that might sway your thoughts on it? Because I mean, at the end of the day, it does not matter. But it's kind of fun to think about and talk about. Let us know. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. And don't forget to follow us on there too, because it really helps us to build an audience, have more opportunities. And we don't just post like, hey, there's a new episode. We post reels. We post Bible verses. We do Bible verse readings and talk about a little bit, especially like in the context of, maybe what's going on in the world or just something that might be on one of our minds.
Yeah, it's not just clips from this recording.
Not just clips from this recording. We do post that too. And don't forget to share with family and friends, because all of those things stimulate the algorithm and help us to just spread the word about this podcast. If you're interested in supporting the podcast, we do have a Fourthwall shop. The link to that is in the episode description.
We got merch.
We got merch, shirts, mugs. I think I said that last time. Then in the next episode, we're going to show you some of those shirts. We've got them ordered. Oh, he sees I'm buttoning a shirt here. We've got the logo. We've got a crown of thorns. And we got some other fun little things. I think we have some stickers on there now. Also have a quick announcement. There will be no new episode next week for Thanksgiving. There we go. We're going to cut to Dustin.
Check it.
That is the Crown of Thorns shirt.
Get yourself some merch.
And it was designed by Dustin. So
And hopefully design some more stuff in the future.
Yeah. I totally forgot where I was on my clothes. I'll admit it.
I apologize.
Is it clothes?
There's
or
clothes, and there's the mug. There's no new episode next week for Thanksgiving, but we will be back. Oh, wait.
I'll be back.
Oh, that's not this episode. Never mind.
Cut
Gotta
it.
cut that out. Gotta cut that out. We appreciate you all taking the time to listen. We love you, and God bless.